Hey guys, and welcome back. We are doing a review on Project Cars. This is the first one, not the second one. Honestly, I'm not sure if I have the second one, but if I do, I will review that one too. I will look for it after I do these few reviews that I have left. Full disclaimer: I have animals around me, so I have 4 cats and 3 dogs. And so you might hear them in the background here and there, snoring or whatever. And I don't have a dedicated game room, so right now I'm just in my living room. I would have to move a lot of stuff out of my house. When I bought my house, the previous owner used it as a fishing camp because it's so close to the lake, and he left a lot of stuff in it, and he passed away. So there's a lot of stuff in my house that is not mine, that just the situation that I was in, my stuff kind of blocked in his stuff, so I've been having a hard time getting it out of the house, because I need room to get my stuff out of one room into another to get his stuff out. And the way the upstairs is, not really necessarily upstairs, but the way the stairwell is, I can't fit anything big down it, so it's really hard for me to get anything out right now. So anyway, but once I get that stuff out, I can start working on a game room, and I also have to upgrade the wiring upstairs because the downstairs was done, but the upstairs was not, so far that I know. So I'd have to upgrade the wiring to handle the TV and all that stuff, video game systems, before I could even think about using it for gaming. So anyway, back to the review. So Project Cars, I have played it a few times, and honestly, I am not a huge fan of how it plays. It's very twitchy, like it's almost like it's almost like the same as Gran Turismo, where it's almost too much for having, like if you have a joystick, it's almost too much for it. If you have a steering wheel, it's probably pretty good. And the reason for that is you have a lot more travel with the gas pedal and brake pedal and the steering wheel than you do with the triggers and the joystick. So what I'm going to do here is have my garage somewhere. I guess maybe I'll go free practice. Oh, here we go. So I did this yesterday, and the review was actually too long, so I ended up deleting it. But what happened was I was going through, and basically I was terrible at this game. So what happened was the triggers were like, it was set so the triggers were gas and brake, and I really hate that. And I was having a lot of issues with it, for one, because I didn't know I could switch it until I found it later on, halfway through doing the video. But so far, one thing I will say is there are quite a bit of cars, but I hate it when, I know this is a racing game, but I hate it when all you can get is race cars. You know, for the most part, like there's a few like this, and Audi R8, like stuff like that. There's a few that are road. That one's still technically a road. I don't like the ones that have the big wings on the back though, but those are technically still road cars and different classes. Same with this one, but this is an Ariel Atom, and I've never seen one driving, so I don't consider them as a real car. I mean, they are a real car, they are, but I don't consider them one because I haven't seen one around. So, but anyway, so the car list on this game is weird, because first of all you have go-karts, and then look, the first, you have Aston Martin is like the first main company, and then you have Audi, and then you have BMW, and then it goes from BMW to Ford. There's no Chevy, there's no Chrysler, there's no Dodge, and it just goes straight to Ford. And then Ford, I don't want to say straight to it, but there's these other companies here are companies that we don't have in the US. So, I mean, this Caper one maybe, but the Caterham, we do not have that in the US. That's over in England. So, same with the Ford Escort. This one, I believe this is English. I don't think we had that Escort. But they have the Ford Focus RS, and then they have the Ford GT, the old one. They have an old Mustang, a Mustang race car, Boss. Then they have a Trans Am Series 90. I don't know Mustangs very well, but I believe 93 to 98 Mustang style. And then they have a Mustang GT for 15. And then another Ford, just race cars. And then it goes straight to, look at this, Lotus, which is all race cars. There's no Lotus Elise, no Lotus Esprit, nothing. So technically, normal car-wise, it goes from Ford to McLaren. So it goes from F to M. That's crazy that they left out that many companies. I'm sure it's all licensing stuff that they couldn't get to, but that's crazy. Then you got Mercedes-Benz, Mitsubishi. There's one Lancer in this whole game. Gran Turismo has like 400 Lancers and 400 Subaru Imprezas, and this one has one. And then it goes straight to Pagani, which I've never seen, but I still recognize them as an actual car company. Even though I don't think we have them in the U.S. I mean, we have a few probably that people brought over, but I don't think you can purchase them over here. And then it goes straight to Renault. We don't have. I know Renault is a bigger company in Europe. We don't have that here in the U.S. Rough is Porsche, but I'm not sure exactly how it is, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's like a company that modifies them. I'm not sure about that. Or it's just what they call it over in other company, or in other countries. I'm not really sure, because an RGT8, CTR3, like those are actual Porsches. And I don't know why Gran Turismo calls them a Rough also. I don't know the specifics of that. Anyway, then you have a Scion. So there's no Camaro, no Corvette, but you have a Scion FRS. And then that's the last thing. There's no Toyota, there's one Mitsubishi, there's no Nissan, nothing. It's all, the cars on this game are few and far between. So I'm going to pick a FRS first. I'm going to do Laguna Seca because I know it. I also have my eye issue that I have mentioned before, that I got my injury at work. And my vision is impaired now a little bit, so I am not as good as I used to be. So with that in mind, I'm going to start this. I'm pretty sure I changed the settings to how I liked it, where gas is X on PlayStation, gas is X and square is brake, and shifting gears is the triggers. But I just remembered, even yesterday when I was messing around with it, I never changed it to manual transmission. So it's still going to be an automatic, I guess. But the main part of this is not really my skill of driving. It's just reviewing the. Maybe I can do it in here. Can I do it in here? No, I cannot. Nope. As I cancel your changes. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna drive. So right now, like I said, I have the gas and brake is X and square, and I'll just leave it automatic. I always use manual for every game I play, but we'll just do automatic for this. So the thing I don't like about this is it is very unforgiving. See how kind of twitchy it is? Like, I mean, it's weird. It's unforgiving at times, and then it's also not forgiving. Or I thought I said that wrong. It's unforgiving at times and forgiving at times. So like the back end is sliding out on this, see, it's hard to get it back. But then if you are doing a turn and you hit the joystick like to the right, like kind of twitchy, it kind of smooths itself out a little bit. So it almost makes you better if you're twitchy at it. But if you're trying to take a corner the right way and the back end sliding out, it's really weird. But if you're twitchy with the steering wheel, that's when your back end's going to slide out more, because lose control, most likely. And I just feel like you can shift manually, but it automatically downshifts back into fourth. So I can upshift to sixth, but it automatically downshifts to fourth once I let off of it. So, but I'm going to do this car first. I just misjudged that. Talking too much. So, but what I did notice on the last time, like if you are, I'm going to show you this view to figure out which one it was. Okay. So first of all, the graphics are good. This is not bad at all. The graphics are pretty good. I will definitely give it that. The track looks good. The cars look good. look pretty good. I'll upgrade that to good. They do look good. But the thing is this game is very, like, when the back end kicks out, it's a lot harder to get back in. It's not quick at all. Like, the transition is not quick. And I have actually had the back end slide out on a car before, and it like, once it grabs, it is a quick transition. I mean, I know there's a lot of you out there that have done this in real cars. I actually lost control of my car that I had a long time ago. I was 19, so it was inexperienced. And I hydroplaned on a curve with ball tires in the rear. Sorry, ball tires in the rear. I don't know why that came out weird. But I had a 1996 Pontiac Trans Am, and I ended up back end kicked out, and I corrected it, and I overcorrected because of how quick it grabbed. This does not grab quick at all, ever. Like, it's just a slow pullback from drifting. It's faster. It's not the same type of drifting as like the Grand Tour and what's the other one that did it? Drive Club kind of does it a little bit to the same effect as the Grand Tour. This is different. It's like you can still drift, but it's just hard to get it back. And once it does grab, it does bring it back pretty quick. So it's just very slow to react, or slow to grab. For being racing tires and stuff, they don't grab very well. But anyway, the graphics are pretty good. I'm gonna go into the car. So one thing I noticed is look how, well, I'm gonna crash into a wall probably. So look how sharp the turn is when you're going slow. Look how, see his hand? It's all the way over at the 11 o'clock. And see how when you speed up, well, I'm doing donuts right now, so when you speed up, then watch what happens. If I fully lock it, I'm gonna go a faster turn. This one right here. If you fully lock it, look how far it goes. That's it. It just goes to like 2 o'clock. And then there we go, back to 11 again. So, it is very speed sensitive steering. And I'm not used to that because a lot of games let you steer a little bit harder than that, where the back end kicks out if you do that and hit the gas at the same time. It'll make the back end slide out and you can drift easier. And this one makes it's like it drifts on its own easier, but if you try to actually drift it, it's actually not that easy. It's harder than a lot of other games. So then I'm going to go to this view. The graphics on this, like inside the car, are not bad. I know I'm messing up, I'm looking at the inside. This is not a review of my racing, this is a review of the graphics in the car and stuff. But the car itself is not bad. It could be a little bit better. I did notice that in this view, right here, look at his gloves. I'm going to stop real quick. Look at his gloves. That looks pretty good. The stitching and even the layers and everything of the leather, that looks pretty good. So I give a point to that. His gloves look really good. The steering wheel looks pretty good. But the dash and stuff is like, it's decent. It's good, but it's not great. But those gloves look pretty good. Like they look almost perfect, honestly. If they were in a little bit higher definition, like 4K, they'd be like really, really good. So anyway, but what I'm noticing with this game, I usually play with, oh, that's another thing. So they have these extra camera angles. Look at this. There's a helmet cam where you're inside the helmet. That is pretty cool. I like that, but the only thing I don't like, I like the idea of it, but I don't like this. So I'll show you here in a second. Look at the side mirror. You can barely see it. When I'm drifting, look at that. The driver looks towards where he's supposed to go. So it's harder to see that your car is out of control because you're looking forward. You know, I mean, yes, you can see the dash moving around a little bit and the mirrors move, but it's harder to see that you're losing control because you're still looking at the road straight. So, whereas when you're doing this, you know you're crooked when you're doing these. You know, and with the helmet, you don't really notice that as quick. So, this is the view that, actually, this is not the view. The view I usually use is either this one, I just passed it too. I usually use this one on Gran Turismo, on the older ones, or on Forza, I use this one. But this one, the hood is a little bit too wide for the camera, so I've been using this one on this team. So anyway, it's hard to say. The game was pretty good, but like I said, it's almost too fidgety for a controller. And then also another thing I noticed, and I will go back into here. Look at the dash when I hit the brakes. Watch. It's like my head goes forward, and then you hit the gas, and it pulls you back. Like you're being pushed back in the seat a little bit. So that's an extra bonus points, I guess I should say, because I don't think I've noticed that in any of the, I've never seen that drastic in any other game. But the problem with that is, if you look outside, like this car is not very, I mean, there's a little bit of body roll, it's not bad, but here's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to quit this, and we are going to go exit. And what we're going to do is we're going to switch cars. We're going to go to a more powerful car, so I'm going to pick a Mustang. Personally, I hate Mustangs. I used to hate all Mustangs except for the 60s with a passion. But the 60s are awesome. Pretty much any 60s muscle car is cool. But 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, I was not a fan. I started liking the 05 to 08 style a little bit better, and then I also started liking the 09 to 14 style a little bit better because they looked like the 60s ones. And the reason for that is because I absolutely hate that the Mustang looks like this. It looks like a Hyundai Tiburon to me. If they were still making the Hyundai Tiburon, that's what the front end of this car looks like. So, the back, I do like the back. I do like how the back looks. But the front just looks like a more aggressive Hyundai Tiburon, like as if they were continuing on with it. I think they did 2 designs of that, so that would be like the 3rd one. So, but I'm going to show you this, the body roll that I was talking about. So, you can't really see it here, but I will show you the body roll. It's too much for this car. A Mustang does not have this much body roll that I'm going to show you here in a second. Especially with an FRS, a Scion FRS has less body roll. Look at this, look at that body roll, it's terrible. A Mustang is not going to do that. At high speed, yeah, not at low speed. Okay. That's a little more horsepower. But with that body roll though, that's too much. That is too much transfer. So anyway, I'm going to go back into, see this view on this car, see I'm having trouble. This view on this car is not bad. It's not too wide like the FRS was. So from right now, I'm actually going to try to race this, not right now actually, right when I stop talking. I'm going to actually try to do this racetrack like best to my ability. And if you compare it with when I do the other, see, I'm having issues. I'm not really even trying it yet, but I wasn't trying to my god or anything. But if you watch me play like this this track on any like other racing games, I'm a lot better at it than this one. Especially like Forza 7 and Gran Turismo, if they even have it. I don't think I saw it on there, but Forza especially. See, look at that. I mean, to be completely honest, it is probably more realistic this way than the other games, but like I said, I don't have a steering wheel or gas or brake. It's hard to modulate that gas pedal and brake pedal. If you use the triggers, yes, you can do it a little bit more. I'm just not used to it. But with the gas pedal and brake pedal and steering wheel, like you have a lot more travel than you do with joystick and triggers, and way more than buttons. Although PlayStation does have pressure-sensitive buttons to a point. So after I hit this, I'm still in practice right now to get used to this car. After I hit the start-finish line, I'm going to actually try. I'm not going to be talking. I'm going to be focusing. I'm going to actually try to do this track and see what time I get, and see if I wipe out. I'm going to try to do it to the best of my ability. And like I said, remember I have an eye problem too. But here we go. bring it back. It just will not come back until it all of a sudden grabs and goes completely the other way. It's terrible. I'm gonna stop talking to kids. I'm gonna try to actually do this again. It just can't. And I know I'm not gonna comment saying I'm terrible at this. I am not a beginner at racing games. I am actually very good normally. And if you watch my drive clip video, it'll show you my world ranking time that it took the picture. And I actually was first in the U.S. and third in the world at Gran Turismo 5 Prologue on one track with a certain car. And I was like that for over a month. annoys sometimes. So as you can see, that last lap was a lot better. I was starting to get used to it a little bit, but I usually get used to cars within a few laps, and that one, I mean, yes, I did like, what, 4 laps or something like that. Usually it takes me 1 or 2, and that was a drastic difference between my 3rd lap and my 4th lap. I honestly think I would have a harder time doing that on a consistent basis, but I don't know, this game, it's too unforgiving. Like, even just that, I mean, I know traction control is off, stability control is off. A real car would probably do that, but the thing is we're playing a game, not driving a real car. So, I don't know where my handbrake is. I don't know where my handbrake is. This one? No, that's there it is. Okay, it's circle. Doesn't do much of a handbrake job, though. But, so anyway, so the graphics are good. The people up there are moving a little bit. It looks like they're PlayStation 2 people, though. And I don't know, for the most part, graphics are good. There's a few things, like those people are far away, so it's not that bad. Let's about these people. Okay, not bad. They have pretty blank faces, kinda. The ones up close are a little bit more detailed, but they're still pretty blank compared to other games. There's not a whole lot of detail to them. Especially that girl in the green all the way on the right. You can barely see her. It looks like she might have glasses on. I have an eye problem, so it looks like glasses, but I can't tell. The paint on the car is amazing. Look at the reflections on that. Like, look at those reflections. That's amazing. Can you see the people in it? Yeah, you can see the people in it and everything. You can see them moving. Yeah, you can see the people raising their arms and everything, but they're closer for some reason. But anyway, yeah, overall, it's not a terrible game. It has a big learning curve. I'm guessing it's probably a lot different per car, which is how it should be technically, but the game itself is just, it's almost too hard for a controller. It's almost too precise for a controller, which I guess makes it good, makes it better. But if you don't have a steering wheel, then not that it's unplayable, but it has a huge learning curve to it. I just feel like if you had a steering wheel, you'd have a lot easier time playing it. So I'm gonna rate this. If you have a steering wheel, I'm guessing it's gonna be better, so I'm gonna give it 1 point more. But if you don't have a steering wheel, I would rate this at about a 7. I would say a 7. The graphics are good. The driving is it's so unforgivable. And like I said, the steering, like just the speed sensitive steering like that, it's hard to control a drift. It's hard to get the rear end back out. Like if it kicks out, it's hard to get it back underneath you. It doesn't have the same drift effect that, like the fake drift effect that Drive Club and the Grand Tour had. Like I said, the Grand Tour was drastically different. Drive Club had that effect, but not nearly as bad. This one doesn't have it. It has a different effect for the drifting. It doesn't feel the same as the other ones, but it doesn't feel like any other racing game, and that's what I mean about the learning curve. The tires just don't seem like they want to grab, and it's like they slide too much before they grab, and then when they grab, you're already steering a complete other way. It's so hard to control it once it slides out. So I'm sure with more time I could probably get used to this, but then I would probably ruin every other racing game I play because I'd have to learn them all over again. That's how different this is. So but what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to rate this I'm just going to stop here. She's on rolling. There we go. I'm going to rate this a 7 if you have a joystick, and I'm going to give it an 8 if you have a steering wheel. I don't have a steering wheel, so I cannot test that, but just the way this plays, I feel like it would be way better with a steering wheel. And I just feel like it would be a lot more fun with a steering wheel. The other games, like Forza 7, Gran Turismo Sport and 7, I haven't played 7, but Sport is probably the same. Sport is almost to that limit where you need a steering wheel, but not quite. This one is, I think, slightly over that limit, where you can play it with a joystick, but it's hard. It's a lot harder. With Gran Turismo Sport, it is harder, but it's not drastically harder to do. Because it still has that precision, but it's not nearly as precise as this one. And then Forza 7, honestly, I love that game, but it doesn't have as much precision to it, so it is actually easier. It's still less forgiving than the older Gran Turismos, like 5 and 6. That's why I liked it so much, because it actually was a little bit less forgiving, but then these new ones coming out, they have so much more to them. But Project Cars, we're just, like I said, we're going to give it a 7 with a joystick, or with a controller, and 8 with a steering wheel. If I ever get a steering wheel, I will redo a lot of these reviews just to see if they're better or worse. I will do a comparison video if I ever get one. But anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I would really appreciate it. Like and subscribe, and please check out my other videos, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.